I think it's important that we share, that we communicate, that we are open, and that we grow together to achieve.
Because we are the voice of what wellness is about, and it's up to us to spread the message.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Particularly delighted to welcome you this morning in the UK, a little bit later in India. I believe it's about 1:30 your time, to the second day of Professional Beauty's World Spa and Wellness Convention. We have about 70 speakers from around the world. And as I've said, today we start with our India panel. I'm very, very pleased to welcome our editor from India, Kanishka Ramchandani, who is our editor for Professional Beauty, who will be hosting the panel. We're talking about reopening strategies, but as we're in India, we have to, of course, focus on holistic wellness and Ayurvedic treatments. There's a lot of noise on the internet at the moment, as I've said before. There's a lot of people talking. There's a lot of conventions, online conferences. What we've tried to do with these days is bring together those that do, those that actually run businesses, running spas, to share with us. Some are opening already, some are still in lockdown, and we really wish to share experiences from around the world. And I'm delighted now to pass you over to Kanishka and her panel, Reopening Strategies from the Indian Perspective. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Kanishka.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Mark. I'm truly honored to be part of this panel and to moderate this session. Like Mark said, we are looking at the reopening strategies for the spa industry in India, and we have put together an interesting panel for you, voices from across all sectors, from the hotel industry, from standalone day spas, and from consultants who understand how the spa market is going to spin off. So I would like to welcome my panel on board and introduce each of them to you, beginning with Dr. Rekha Chaudhary. Dr. Rekha Chaudhary is the Global Wellness Ambassador for India. She is the founder and managing director of One Line Wellness and Caressa Luxury Spa. She's the first Indian in the wellness industry to be awarded.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for the lovely introduction.
Welcome to the session on spas and reopening strategies. Great to have you here. Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Arun Varshney. My bad. Dr. Jeet. Panelist for today is Dr. Arun Pillai, Director of Wellness at Dharana Spa, Hilton Chilim Estate Retreat and Spa at Lonavala. Dr. Arun has worked with prestigious brands such as the Hilton, Kempinski Leela and Nexus in Malaysia, the Lalit Group and Sunswept Resorts in the Caribbean. He also specializes in Ayurveda and has an integrative holistic approach towards wellness. Welcome on board, Dr. Arun.
Thank you, Kanishka. Welcome all of you.
Thank you. And finally, we have with us Ritu Taure. Ritu is the founder of Spa by Ritu. She has done extensive work in spa education, training, and consultation, and right now plays a pivotal role in helping spas conduct their business. Welcome, Ritu. It's great to have you on board. So our focus for today is going to be on the reopening strategies for spas. So I would like to begin with Dr. Arun and understand how he and his team has been planning for the reopening of the spas once the lockdown is called off.
Yeah, thank you, Kanishka. In fact, yes, it's been really a long wait for us, firstly, because it's been extended and extended and extended. So now we are at the phase of fourth lockdown, as we all know that. So, I mean, we have been putting together a lot of plans together, but I would just like to focus on a couple of things which I would like to share in here. The first thing is we are also from Hilton. So from a brand perspective, we have been receiving a lot of guidelines in terms of understanding how globally we are going to do this together, and also convene it and align it to the local requirements. So if I have to really put it together, it's basically we are looking at a few things, which is from a perspective of the
Dr. Arun, I think you've hit the mute button. Can you unmute yourself, please?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
No worries.
So the first thing, what we are really focusing at this point of moment is to boost the confidence and gain the confidence of all our guests who are going to return back to the dharna or to my property as well. Right. So based on that, the Hilton has launched in a program called as Hilton Clean Stay. So this is a worldwide program which has been put together, and under this program there are various protocols and policies ranging from different strategies which is together. So we are going to strictly follow in these protocols, and just to mention a few of them, it is right from the greeting perspective. So we would be doing strictly on an Indian greeting thing, which is of course the namaskar, and right from there we would have a contactless check-in. So anybody who's coming into the into our hotel or even at the reception, at the spa, at the wellness reception, is going to have absolutely a contactless check-in into the thing. And then we have also put together a couple of hygienic procedures again, which is ranging from the pre to the post and during the therapies. So all these three parts are being put together, and here we have implemented a lot of hygienic protocols, so which would gain in the and boost the confidence of the guests by all means, right? So that's what in short, if I have to really put it together, so I mean, we are in the process, and we are just waiting for the things to come up and open up again.
Right. Thank you for those inputs, Dr. Arun. Dr. Jitendra, I would like to know from you, what efforts are you putting in for the reopening of spas?
So basically, as Dr. Arun mentioned, we are also a company where we have our head home office at Bangkok. So they are working on all the aspects. However, I would like to say that we were already following a lot of rules and regulation when it comes to sanitization. Six Senses is always famous for their hygiene and those kind of thing. And meanwhile, we are running a campaign called At Home with Six Senses, where all our experts are keep coming on all the social media. There will be a stream. They are sharing thoughts, so that at least we are in connection with all our guests. And then we are doing some regular workshops and classes for our hosts also, just to keep their morale positive. And then regarding other strategies, like we have got already so many guidelines from international associations and similar organizations, and we are working on that. And we are always positive, and then we are hoping that all the guests who were already happy with our services, they will definitely come back to us.
Right. So you are staying connected with your customers, so that when they come to the spas, there would be a seamless transition. And of course, hygiene and sanitation remains our key focus in this time.
Yes.
Dr. Rekha, what would you like to add to this? I know you have a day spa, but you are also working very closely with all the other spas across India. So what do you think is the right reopening strategy for Indian spas?
First of all, I would like to thanks to the Professional Beauty for conducting such a beautiful platform for the industry, and especially connecting with the world, because what is happening in the India that we know, but what is happening in the world, many of them are not knowing. So this platform will definitely give the insight of the world wellness industry. So first of all, One Line Wellness is my company name, where we have been working with the industry very deeply. And Karisa is one of the small segment of the company, but I'm not just talking about perspective about the Karisa, but point of view, overall the industry point of view, I would like to say something which is actually we are heavily working on it. And in fact, bringing the attention from the government on this particular platform. So we are talking about how industry is prepared and how industry will be taking ahead after the COVID-19. So 5 pillars what we are mostly focusing on, that is, protection measurement, engineering control, and then this one administrating control. Then apart from that, then personal protection measurement, then hygiene and disinfection, and then risk management and medical escalation. These are the pillars what we have presented front of the government also. On this pillar, industry is ready to represent reopen the saloon spas all over India. And that's what, because it has to be very well controlled by the organization. Otherwise, it will be difficult for us to once we reopen, so it will be difficult for us as an industry to survive. Anytime government can bring the ban for the closing the industry again. And as you are also aware about that, we are coming as an industry, as a wellness industry is coming in the last name of the government in the 4th list when they are publishing. In that also we are not there, but I am trying my best to with the government to and along with the industry to approach, and then all this measurement what we have sent to them, and we are working on it, how industry is getting prepared. Apart from that, we are as a collective mission we have started all this measurement, or all this guideline what we are training each and every area in India with the collective, as a collective mission. All trainers have come brought together, and many organization has come together. They are coming together, and we are making one complete platform which is not brand oriented, but it is an industry representative oriented platform, where all of us are going to train each and every therapist, spa therapist, nail artist, pedicurist, manicurist, each and everything, helpers, anyone in the industry is working. So we are going to train them in all language, maximum language is possible. And we have, in fact, we have created that platform asking the volunteers to come forward to train these workers, train the skilled laborers. This is what we are going to do, because as an organization, anyone can put certain, guideline, but overall the industry platform or industry point of view, we have to work. So there it becomes a big, massive challenge. And that challenge, taking us as an industry players, we have come together to working on these measurements or all the safety hygiene guidelines. And that hygiene guidelines will be trained through all this platform to the industry, and which has started already. From today, means already everyone as an individual level, everyone is doing, but today onwards, it is going to be in the industry through the industry players point of view.
Right. Rekha, that's some amazing work that you are doing. It is high time that the Indian spa industry becomes an organized sector and is recognized by the government for its contribution to the GDP. I think by centralizing everything, especially the guidelines and providing training, it's going to be you're definitely overcoming the first challenge that spas are going to face when they reopen. Now, I'd like Ritu to take up this question. Ritu, in your experience as a consultant, what do you think should be priority when the spas reopen?
Thank you, Kanishka, and thank you, Dr. Rekha. First of all, I would like to say thanks to her and to the Professional Beauty UK team. Rekha, you're doing an excellent job, and that's a great support you're taking with the government. And thank you, Dr. Arun, too. As a consultant, as my company is Spa with Ritu, I've already started a free online course to guide people, which is about reset spas post-COVID. And coming to your question about what is it that how we will move forward, what is the most important thing? Yes, sanitation and everything is most important, which plays a very dynamic role, because today COVID has forced upon us or compelled us to bring a very different kind of change. It has changed the dynamics of our day-to-day lives as well as spas. And as Rekha mentioned, 5 pillars, I have exactly based it on 5 pillars, which I think is very important, is awareness, or to demonstrate the awareness. That is what through training and guidelines. Education is going to play a very important role, because in spa industry, you have teams as the frontline heroes who are very skill-based. So you require very consistent, rigorous, and reinforced trainings that can happen only through guided education. The second thing is identifying or recognizing the caution and developing an intent to prevent, because there's no vaccination, no medicine. So definitely team will have to develop an intent to prevent and practice all the preventative measures. But for strategies moving ahead, we will definitely have to ensure that we are able to extend that assurance to our guests, to bring that confidence and trust back into the guest and the organization and the team relationship. And I would say that this can only happen if we set protocols, policies, and all this through training guidelines. So these 5 pillars will play a very important role, how we actually strategize when we are ready to reopen our doors and welcome our guests back into spas, wellness centers or hotels.
Right. Thank you so much, Ritu, for bringing to light the importance of education and training here. Dr. Arun, I will come back to you with my next question on holistic wellness. In India, spa and wellness is mostly all about getting massages done. So do you think the new normal will dictate new terms for Indian wellness?
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for India to showcase what we already have and what we have been proclaiming in terms of our traditional practices. So definitely the holistic wellness approach. Even for the smallest to the smallest spas until the biggest to the biggest resorts and the retreats or the wellness centers in India. Where the drive has already started, with the incredible India, what we saw. And it was really going in a very, very fantastic streamline. So I strongly believe that, definitely this is going to be a great opportunity for us, wherein we could showcase our traditional practices and put together certain protocols and certain practices, which could be evaluated and further, taken to the end user, post the COVID, the pandemic situation. So ideally, we have already gone and ventured into this sector, in a very long time. So if you see the tourism of India, and I mean, when we look at the wellness tourism itself in India, has seen a huge boost, from past at least a decade or so. So when we started off, long back, and what we have today is really a long journey what has been taken through. So I would definitely see that post-COVID is going to be a huge opportunity for us, and that would take us to a very new arena. So that's what we are looking at.
Right. Dr. Jitendra, what would you like to add to this?
Yeah, see, first of all, for me, ISPA supposed to be always a holistic wellness center.
Yeah.
The element of healing was always associated with, but unfortunately, some people start opening a massage center and putting a board outside a spa and wellness, which was unfortunate. Now, International Spa Association already has come with a new definition that spas are a place where you will be going through with a lot of professional experience to renew your mind, body, and spirit. So already the term has been changed. Now, I think after this corona pandemic, there will be definitely a curiosity in everybody, irrespective to any age group, whether you are old or young. People will search a place where they can go and find how to de-stress mind and body, how to develop your immunity. So this is really very good opportunity being in India. Like, we are really fortunate. We are really lucky to have an expert from all over the healing system. It's not just Ayurveda. It's a naturopathy, it's a Chinese traditional system, it's a Reiki healing. So you can go, there is a list of experts. So now this is the right time to utilize them and emerge like a wellness hub, like yoga. India is already famous as a hub of yoga. So this is the right time for us to emerge as a wellness hub. Now, how can we start? So first of all, I think we should start promoting our experts who are working with or who are associated with us. We should promote them rather than just putting a beautiful lady receiving a massage or facial. That can be one part of your center. But if you are really looking for a wellness approach, you have to do something to invite the people, let them understand now what is the real meaning of spa. It's not just receiving a relaxing massage. And we know that everybody is aware. There's a very famous quote in industry: when we place high, illness come wellness. So this is the right time for all of us to work as a team to share what actually I'm looking for, what my clients are really looking for, what do you think, what should we have inside the center. So there's a really good opportunity for all of us.
Right. So this is the time to change this challenge into an opportunity and bring about holistic wellness to the forefront. Dr. Rekha, in your discussion with Honorable Minister Nitin Gadkari ji, he had come up with this whole idea of the Panchakarma centers. He was stressing a lot on Ayurveda, and that leads me to this thought that yes, holistic wellness is something that is on everyone's mind, including the governments. So what do you have to say to this?
So especially I want to say something which is very belongs to the Indian and Indian culture,
Yeah.
which is when in 2008 first when I started the first spa, that is that time I had designed that concept on the Sola Shingar. Sola Shingar was the concept where it was a actual ritual was given to the how you can beautify your body, mind and soul. That is a ritual pattern what we have, and that belongs to the Indian culture. And that's what was the communication what I started, because spa is not just a massage. This is completely misleaded by the consumer, and we as experts, we have to put efforts to bring in their attention for this kind of concept which belongs to the India and Indian traditionals. Apart from that, one of the concept which is my concept which is registered in WHO is called mother's touch. That is also another concept which I have taken patents on. That is after the delivery, mother and child, how they can naturally recover themselves. So there is no massage concept only in this case also. Apart from that, 35 years back, like my daughter is 33 years old, and 33 years back, I had taken the sand therapy from my mother. And that's how I could rediscover the stone therapy. And I was giving those days, I was giving the community service with that sand therapy. And today we are talking about the sand therapy, sand bath, and all these things. So all these things belongs to India, and Indian has that culture and traditional. And India is rich with all this traditional culture. Apart from yoga and Ayurveda is another one of the vardhan for the industry. So all this such a strong foundation from India, we are not success. We as an industry player are not success to enter in the consumer mind. That is, a spa is just a massage center. It's not a holistic center. So having said this is the right time. Everyone has to come together and emphasize our what is that, the culture of the wellness industry to the consumer mindset. That's very, very important. Everyone has to collectively put the efforts, and everyone has to create the awareness. Spa massage comes in the last number. And apart from that, now seeing this COVID-19 scenario where customer will be hesitate to coming to in the direct touch, that time again is a holistic approach will play a much more stronger role than just massages. So this is the right time. Everyone has to start in their communication, their speech, or whatever awareness they are creating. As I said, we are creating awareness for the training and hygiene and all this similar kind of awareness wellness industry has to put front of the consumer. This is very, very important for us. And you must have seen like why he's emphasizing, Mr. Gadkari has been talking about the Ayurveda, because they are we have the Ayush ministry as a separate ministry, which is again, we are lucky for that, to having this kind of ministry for us, where we can actually get the exposure on the world platform what exactly is the Ayush industry is representing. So Ayush has all these 5 Unani pillars, and that pillars is represented by the Ayush ministry. And Ayurveda is a strong base for the industry, and which we have to promote. You must have heard from the PM Modi also yesterday in his speech. he was also talking about the like, we have this kind of culture and we have to come forward with our own new identity, and that's what everyone has to do. So this is the
Absolutely, Rekha.
strong
We
foundation.
we will be talking more about Ayurveda in this session, because that is one topic that is of great interest to me and the industry at large right now, because we are very eager to know how Ayurveda is going to see a resurgence in India. Before we move on to the next question, I would like to ask Ritu on, you have now heard from the panelists, and you of course know from your own research the kind of measures that the spas will be required to put, but as an expert, what do you think is going to be the investment required from a spa to put all these measures into place?
I cannot pinpoint exact figure, but I will definitely say that since COVID has brought this change and is pushing more and more towards, see, spa is usually a touch therapy, a traditional touch therapy, which is a lifeline.
Yeah.
And when you go with the traditional treatments, I won't say that the investment was that high. But now with the new comings, if you see all the PPE, now where did we think of that in the spa? You're going to start greeting people with touchless kiosks, or people wearing surgical masks and gloves and PPE suits, and then ensuring that all this supplies in definitely in place before we reopen and after we have reopened. Spacing out the treatments, that means revenue is going to get affected, because you don't want to see overcrowding. You want to maintain social distancing, not only physically with human beings, but also in your treatments also. The cleaning time is going to increase your payroll, because you may not have the luxury of having full staff, but definitely the payroll is also going to be affected, because you might have to look at how you're going to have the cycles of cleaners, and there are different aspects which COVID is forcing. So these are the I would say elements that we will have to look into, which is going to add cost, because definitely you are going to have a limited menu to start with, because we might have to enter again at a very tiered level, I would say, or like phase in 1, phase in 2. So recovering that revenue of whatever we have to put in before might take a little time longer than expected. So I think investment initially for a year or year and a half is going to be heavier compared to what are the returns on those investments that we might be expecting.
And do you feel that there would be any difference in the approach for day spas and destination spas or hotel spas?
The day spas may have a little different challenge, I would say, compared to hotel spas, because hotel spas work as a complete unit. And you have the engineering support, you have the housekeeping support, and it's a big support. The water body, the filtration process and all. Day spas have their own, and for them the expenses are going to be heavy, because utilities, payroll, everything is borne by the owner himself, and it is on per unit. And to put it across, because it may, as hotels have their own brands and brand guidelines, which are big and which are reached out everywhere in the world. So there is a very specific guideline or protocol. Upcoming day spas might find it difficult to stand up again initially, but slowly they can again roll back into the system, into the business. But definitely it would be much easier on the hotel spas or resorts compared to day spas.
Right. Dr. Arun, like Dr. Rekha just now pointed out about how Ayurveda is going to play an important role, and you being an Ayurvedic expert, can you shed some light on this? Is Ayurveda going to be a big part of the new normal?
Yeah, I think yes, in all ways, because if we really look at it, the Ayurveda is all about the fundamental consciousness, bringing in a consciousness, and it just teaches about your understanding of who you are, and what is your lifestyle, and how qualitatively you can improvise your lifestyle, how environmentally you're going to live in a certain kind of an environment. So if we look at the today's trend, with all this COVID and the pandemic, what is going on, so it is all these things what has been re-emphasized. So I would just like to quote again a very important, similar kind of an guidelines which has been put across in the traditional or the Ayurvedic practices, which from the Charaka Samhita again. So that's the traditional book of the classical book of Charaka, wherein there are some specific. It is in the Charaka Samhita, the Sutrasthana, wherein there are some specific guidelines which has been put across, and they've clearly specified that how a Janapado Dvamsa, what we call it as. So that means how a pandemic situation is going to be evolved on, and this is what I'm talking about is about 5,000 years before, so they had these kind of visionaries at that point of time. And I was just going through and then got some great references, so there's a couple of things what they are talking about, in which they definitely identify humans as a microcosm of the macrocosm or of the entire universe. There's another saying called the Yatha Pinde Tatha Brahmande, so which means how minutely we are, as a microcosm. We also have to learn to live with the macrocosm, which is the universe again, which obviously we have forgotten to do so, and we are seeing what we have to get out of it. So that's the situation what we all have landed into. So definitely looking at Ayurveda as a new norm in the future is going to be a big thing, because again, revealing back on the Ayurvedic principles itself, wherein we specify that Ayurvedo Amrutha May. So which means again, it is the Ayurveda which can take you back, to the immortality, just to connect yourself with the external environment also, so which is the key factor now, so that is what everybody is focusing on. So eating, breathing, or digestion, or maybe a metabolism, or lifestyle management, or any kind of a qualitative kind of an improvisation within your body or to the environment. So all these bridges is what we're going to learn in. So having said that, there are several things which we can look at, for the future, and that's going to bring in a lot of emphasis, not only from bringing out the people from the miseries what they're suffering in now, but also to keep them in a better health in the future. So that's again another very beautiful saying in Ayurveda called as Swasthya Rakshana, which means Ayurveda always believes in preventative measures, and it always keeps up an individual, with the complete prophylactic or with the complete emphasis given on prevention. So there are several methodologies, including the dinacharyas to rutucharyas, so, and there are several other protocols which have been put across in Charaka Samhita and the Shushruta Samhita and various Samhitas, which can be a lot of inspiration for us today. And as rightly said by Dr. Rekha, we are glad that in India, with the government now has put forward the Ayush as a primary thing. It is not only the Ayurveda again; it is the Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, homeopathy, Siddha. There's several Swagma Rigpa again. Those several practices, which has all been brought across in one platform, and we are able to deliver that today to the world. So moving across, I would definitely see that. It is just the judicious practices, which is going to be integrated together and reap out the best out of each of these systems and offer it to the world. So we have something amazing which is going to happen definitely, and that's going to be the integrative practices, which is going to be emerged out as something as a new norm to the world, post this COVID. That's my feeling.
Right. Thank you for that, Dr. Arun. Dr. Jitendra, can we have you back online, please? Yes. So I hope you are listening to all of the experts, and especially what Dr. Arun said just now, because I would like to know from you too on whether customers are going to prefer Ayurvedic treatments eventually when they come back.
Yeah, definitely. So let me go back to a little bit when we were talking about the holistic approach. I think so far the spa industry was just limited to mind, body, and soul. And we were missing the real element of wellness, which is like environmental wellness and the social wellness. And what we are going through with this is related to more environmental. we have polluted all air, water, earth. So
Right.
we are going through with this all problem. So first of all, when somebody is looking for a holistic wellness in a destination, they have to be devoted to protect the environment. They have to be something to do something social work. Now, it's not just limited to your spa. It should be everywhere the guest goes, like in the restaurant, in the room, in the minibar. The wellness should reflect everywhere. This is how we can really generate a feeling of wellness. Now, let's come to the Ayurveda. See, first of all, I would say Ayurveda was never out of touch. It was always there. People were using
Yeah.
different names. Like the wellness industry actually using the all philosophy and concept of which are mentioned in Ayurveda and yoga text already. Uh, Now we are just worried about last 2-3 months, and we have given the name. It's a pandemic, but think before this 2-3 months, the whole world was going through a big pandemic with the lifestyle disorders.
Yeah.
Every day you might be having 1,000 diabetic. Every day you might be getting new insomnia. So it's not just limited to this pandemic. I think this pandemic may initiate people to look life again with different perspective, and
Right.
they may look for Ayurvedic doctors to help them in a different way. See, I would say Ayurveda is like a recipe where all the ingredients itself enough to complete your prevention and cure. So
Right.
far we were just looking Ayurveda as a temporary solution, and we were just looking as a single herb solution or just a diet for 1 day or 2 day. Now this is right time to use this whole system to change your lifestyle, your daily routine, your seasonal routine. So
Right.
it's a definitely there is a, and we are already getting a lot of calls, like my friends who were in touch with me since years and years, they never asked a single question. But after this pandemic, every second day I'm getting 2-3 questions about their parents. What can I give them? They are diabetic. What should I do
Right.
for food? So
Dr.
so
Jitendra,
in
I'll come back to you on that thought. So please hold on to it. I have to get a business perspective from Rutu about this. Rutu, do you think spas that don't have Ayurvedic treatments, they don't offer these treatments right now, it makes business sense for them to start offering it once they reopen?
See, again, spas which do not offer Ayurveda can also run it without the Ayurveda treatments, because it all
Yeah.
depends on how they want to phase it in, how they want to face their business. Because today we have to accept anywhere in the world, a person who loves their oil massages are going to love their oil massages. People who are in for holistic massages, whether you bring in the sound therapies or you bring in the pranic cleaning or you bring the breath work or Ayurvedic treatments, they're going to love. If they don't have the Ayurveda treatments, and if they slowly introduce with the, after consulting the Ayurvedic consultants or doctors, that what kind of possible treatments they can start with, ensuring that, the preventative measures are there. They can't,
Yeah.
because, there is a lot of, you have to understand each person's prakriti, constitution. And you can't just say that, okay, today I'm going to give Shirodhara or I'm going to start a Sarvanga Dhara and no consultation. Because there goes a lot of study. These people dedicate a lot of study in
Yeah.
Ayurveda. And that's why if they want to start, then they should always ensure that they have a proper Ayurvedic specialist on board. And then only they can definitely bring in Ayurveda, and that can add as a USP and another source definitely for revenue.
Right. Rekha, can you please come online? Yes.
Yeah.
Rekha, can you tell us what are the measures that spas can take to gain the customer's confidence back?
Uh, First, I want to continue with the Ritu, which very nicely said, and I'm coming back to the measure what we have to take, because it is a combination of the answer. So when we are saying about the Ayurveda will gain a market or not, or we will be going with the Ayurveda as an Indian industry. So first of all, industry itself is a very small today. Wellness industries are completely in the dicey mode. We are not very successful in the spa industry at this moment. Top of that, having the challenges of the creating the awareness on the client side. So everyone is more attracted by the international approach, international way of Western therapies and all of this. And as correctly what Ritu is saying, so Ayurveda, when you have to implement in your organization, so it has a huge challenge is understanding the properly internal body structure, and that is we need a proper doctor on board. And this is what you see, because you see in India also being Ayurveda is our foundation. Still many spa or salon for the commercial point of view, they are offering some wrong treatments which is not supposed to offer in the daytime and all. There is a timing zone also in the Ayurveda which they are not following. So these are the challenges what we are seeing in the industry today. And then top of that, when you have to again sorry, what question you asked me?
How to gain the customer's confidence back.
So gaining the customer confidence is the individual organization has to put the efforts to not offering the discount structure, but against that they have to offer all these measurements, 5 pillars what I said earlier in my this one guidelines. What individual as a salon or spa owners or individual organization, what efforts they are putting to taking care of the customers' care and health and security. That is what they have to say. And inside also they have to tell that, like as an organization, what we have taken measurement on our side, how we are protecting ourselves, how we are taking care of our ourselves by receiving the customers in our premises. So all these things they have to talk, they have to create the awareness. Of course, on the industry platform side, I am working with the many organizations, brought them on the one platform, and we are creating the awareness. But individual, all these salons owners or spa owners, everyone has to go and follow that guideline, which is given by the industry players together along with the sector skill council. That guideline has to be implemented, and that has to be published on their website. That has to create the awareness by that as an individual organization in the consumer mindset. So these are the things which is really huge efforts everyone has to put to bring back the customer in their doorstep.
Right. Dr. Arun, would you like to add something to this?
Yeah, definitely, because whatever Ritu mentioned and whatever Dr. Rekha mentioned, so I think it's almost covering all the points. But just to put it together over there, as far as the offerings are concerned, so yes, the day spas have a limitation in terms of offering the full-fledged wellness experiences. But I would also still say that the same experiences of just providing even a simple massage or even a simple abhyanga or a shirodhara or anything which can go in without an presence of an expert doctor being hired and things like that. Even those experiences or the treatments can be still streamlined, so they can probably adopt certain measures like we were just discussing about the prakriti, so the prakriti analysis today is widely available. It is just a simple kind of a questionnaire which can be taken up, and at least that what kind of a genotype you are into, and then the phenotype can be left ahead. So the as far as the disturbances or the vikruti, what we call it as, that can be left ahead, and we can probably focus on swasthya rakshana, which I mentioned earlier. So there could be an educative methodology which can be given and provided even at the therapist levels, at the healer levels, which in fact, I have to share my experiences that when I was working in Malaysia for 7 years and even in Caribbean, I had a very limited, in terms of manpower, so there was a lot of limitation over there. There was a lot of limitation in terms of even the drug availability. So all what we had to do was utilize the local manpower, utilize the local availability of what is present in that particular areas, and then we implemented certain things into the wellness propositions, which worked out brilliantly. Even today, even after I have come out from there, been about 5-6 years now, it's still functioning very well. So it is all about how we package this and how we can provide it to the guests, even with a very minimalistic or probably with some kind of an just on an advisory basis. And if that can be put forward, before instead of just offering an Abhyanga, do a Prakriti analysis, see what genotype they belong to. And with that genotype analysis, you can clearly say that like which Prakriti they belong to. So with that,
So
it would boost
consultation,
in a lot of confidence.
consultation would then become an important aspect if you want to include Ayurvedic treatments.
You're very right. You're very right. So that consultation can be in two parts. So it can be just at a very basic kind of a consultation, which can just go in with a questionnaire, and based on that, a specific oil can be selected or a specific therapy can be selected. So which this knowledge can be had by anybody, from the therapist level to the manager level, or anybody who is functional at that point of time. It need not have to be from a doctor. That's what my point is that. So I'm just coming back to that. What was
I would like to Dr. Jitendra to give his opinion on rather a pro tip on how to gain the customer's confidence back. So if you can quickly give us some pro tip that spas can use.
Okay. So first of all, let us start with the sending a welcome email that we are open, send the policies, what you are going to start with, send the all procedures, sanitization, billing part. Luckily in Six Senses, we already use the digital menu. So then there might be some change in your welcoming the guests, putting some hot water and then giving a sip some, So this is one part where we are inviting. Now once they come inside, what actually we can start with. So I would not force directly to jump into the massages. Let's arrange some classes, like maybe meditation classes, maybe breathing classes, do some workshops where they're making their own products for scrubs, facials, teach them how to make a herbal tea to improve their natural immunity. So this will be entertaining as well as reconnection with your host and the guest. And once they start coming in, they will see the changes in the premises, how we are really following the instruction given by the government. They will be more comfortable. Their confidence will definitely boost. And once they keep coming, take the feedback of the happiest customer, spread words with the other guests who used to come and now not coming just because of this fear. That's the one aspect. And I would like to add something from the point of, so basically, see, we are living in the world where everything is available digitally, correct?
Yeah.
So no need to hire a doctor or any specialist. Basically, like a multi-specialty hospitals, what they do, they keep the doctors on visiting basis. Yeah, they just come, they see the patient and patient is admitted, and then the treatment line is continued by the nurses and compounder, whoever. Right. So when Rutu was concerned about it's very difficult to have so many experts, yes, you're right. But if you see surrounds, like especially for day spas, now the owners has to start thinking beyond massages.
Absolutely. That is what we were discussing in this whole holistic approach thing.
Yeah.
So have to look beyond massages.
Just call expert for visiting.
Yeah. So having
advice,
faculty with you would definitely help. That's an amazing tip from you, Dr. Jitendra. Thank you so much for that. And I also loved your idea of having a soft launch, starting off with workshops and one-to-ones rather than just giving away your services like massages. We have time to take a couple of questions from the audience now. I would like Rekha or Ritu to take this up. What are the top tips for other countries that you can give, countries like UK and France when they open?
Tips for what?
For spa reopening.
Okay. So is Rekha taking or is it me?
You take it first. No problem.
Okay. Hi, whoever this question is being asked by.
It comes from Emma.
Emma, hi. Ritu here from India, and my company is Spa with Ritu. I'm a great supporter of education and looking into post-COVID, and I keep repeating that COVID has really forced its way into our lives, into our business, and it has compelled us to relook at everything, especially when we are looking at spa and wellness industry. It has really greatly affected our traditional approach. And if you go by spa definition as sold this per aqua, but now we'll have to look everything into as a systemized proactive approach as spa being redefined. So the tips I would say is that definitely a very clinical grade aspect is going to be introduced when it comes to, of course, spas and wellness are very much well known for sanitization and hygiene. But we will have to go a little, I would say, above and beyond the traditional practices and bring in the clinical aspect when it comes to sanitation and hygiene. The tip is I would definitely ask you to start preparing your team at least 60 or 90 days, depending, because you will have to, as I said, the 5 pillars is they have to demonstrate awareness. They should be able to identify the symptoms, recognize the symptoms, develop an intention to prevent, that is practice prevention. Then also we have to engage the guest and extend that, I would say, preparedness. So how are you going to do that? Because we should not forget, because coronavirus has entered into our lives, that should not stop us from being empathetic towards the guest. Because being cooped up in the house for so long, they're definitely going to be under stress, and they're going to come in hordes to you. Because it could be mental stress, emotional stress, physical stress. They may want their massages, or they may want their breathing exercises or holistic exercises. They're all going to come back to you, and you're going to be the most popular people, because you are going, and you will have to extend that we care for your well-being and safety, and you will have to practice and develop that practice of preventative measures and prepare your team with all the protocols and guidelines so that we deliver a very consistent message of we care for your well-being and safety, and we shall provide you with the treatments. When it comes to treatments, again, as a tip for reopening, I would say initially maybe you will have to look into a limited menu offer. And the traditional hands approach, especially on the facials, I feel that you will have to look into advanced aesthetics. We had recently introduced in one of the properties machine-based facial, and that worked wonders, because there you can wear your gloves, your mask and everything, or maybe plexiguard shields or sneeze guards. So this is what you might be looking into the future. And even I would say that if it's possible to encourage touch light, because like wherever you can do the touchless, or
the contactless,
paper is used less, do it. Technology would play an important role. That is also what coronavirus is forcing upon us. Because through reservation system or through cashless also. So these are the few tips, but I'll say the most important priority and your foundation should be based on education. Educate your team with reinforced trainings, and that's what is going to help to deliver a very consistent message of your brand and of your company across, and that's what you can get your trust from the guest back, and that loyalty will be developed again.
Great. Thank you so much, Rutu. Dr. Rekha, I have a question from your good friend, John Ghee. Would you like to take that, please?
Yeah, please.
So, he wants to know if it is appropriate to introduce Ayurveda to the millennial generation in a renewed and refreshed way. He wants to know how tradition can be more accessible to people in today's situation.
Wow. So this is very interesting question, Jangi. Thanks for asking this. Traditional can be available in the sense, if I'm taking this question correctly, or understanding correctly, you mean to say that is how the Indian tradition can be open up for the whole world. You mean to say that?
Yeah.
So, Jangi, as I mentioned to you, internally India, in fact, many of us, being as an Indian, we also do not know the traditional. So these traditional we have it. First of all, that is my always say to my industry colleagues and all of them. So everyone has to educate, of course, and we said we have to loudly say to the world now we have this kind of strong based foundation, and of course the Ayurveda, all this information you are easily you can see the easily accessible on the Ayush Ministry, and there is a lot many things is going on, and Ayush Ministry is really playing the very good role, and bringing them on the international platform. It is my one of my In fact, I am also trying to work with them, because the world should know what is the exactly is the foundation of Ayurveda and how it should be open up. Like, being as a, you are as a known person in the world, and still you are asking on behalf of the many of them to know about the Ayurveda reaches to the world. So these are the basis where we feel like Ayush will be the one of the strong foundation which will definitely give the more and more information. And players like us, we are trying our best to expose ourselves to the world, to what we have. As I mentioned to you, sand therapy, which is like coming to us towards us as a stone therapy. Because when I started the working in the wellness industry, I never ever accepted spa industry as a new concept in the India, because it was in our heritage, it was in our own blood. So I never ever accepted. In my first talk also, I said spa industry may be the new word, but it is with it is an ancient Indian rich roots. That's what
Right.
I always used to tell. And from the day one till today, I'm talking same thing. I'm saying, no, spa is not the new word for the India. The consumer may have taken the new approach, but it is a base, it is a foundation of the India. And this is has to go
You
through the
are
everyone.
absolutely right, Rekha. Spa is not new to India, and it's just for us to recognize this now. Dr. Arun, we are almost reaching the end of the session, so I would very quickly like you to take up the first half of John Gee's question, whether Ayurveda needs to be repackaged and refreshed for the millennial audience.
Well, I think Dr. Rekha put it in a very, very nice and a good way, so saying that Ayurveda has always been our traditional practices, but, again, having said that, it has always been taken for granted, that's the only concern what we always had, so today it's been recognized globally and outwardly from different countries, have started implementing it into their traditional practices. Like if you could see in US, there is already the traditional and complementary medicine, as a part of it, which Ayurveda is already thriving very well. You see, even in UAE or the Middle East, the practices of Ayurveda has already been introduced in over there. Now, one important aspect what I would like to specify over here is that anywhere, I mean, as far as the millennials are concerned, for them it is all technology, so it's something which is to do with quick, fast technology, something which is perceivable for them, something which they can see it and result oriented and see that how it works for them. So this is what is people looking forward for, so again, having said that, how do we connect this or how do we connect the traditional systems with the technology? The answer is the quantum physics again. So in fact, when I returned back to India, I had this opportunity to join in this fantastic organization, again with collaborated with Hilton. So what we precisely did was, in order to attract the millennials, in order to attract the new generation people, we actually combined the quantum physics or the quantum offerings, so like, for example, we got in a lot of technological supports into it. Like, for example, I'll just mention one, which is basically the Nadi Pariksha, so which is the traditional pulse diagnosis, what we call, which forms a very core and an important component of any of the Ayurvedic diagnostic procedures. Right. So here what we did was we also implemented this with a software, so which was part of the Nadi Tarangini. And it was very well collaborated because you could see what these nadis are talking about, whether it is Vata, Pitta, Kapha, or whether it is genomically, is it right, or phenotypically, is it wrong, whether there is any Vikruti there. So everything could be analyzed and put on a piece of paper, which was very easy for the guest to perceive that, or which was very easy for the client to perceive it and see that what is going wrong over there. Then put them through a specific therapy, make them to do either it is a panchakarma or it could be a simple therapy or whatever it is. And again, post to that, redo this analysis, so that could get a clear-cut graphical representation of before and after. So this gave us a lot of confidence, and authenticity and the genuinity, because this is scientific and evidence-based practices, of Ayurveda. So this is where we have to move in this direction, and we have to take help of the modern diagnostics, or rather than the modern diagnostics, I would say that the quantum physics based. So there are several equipment like this. There's another one which I would just like to quickly mention it here, is the oligoscan. So oligoscan actually gives us the complete array of your heavy metal toxicity in the body. So we implemented that just before the Panchakarma. So you get to know that what are your heavy metal toxicity in the body, and then post to that you do a Panchakarma or the detoxification, and then post at the end of the detoxification we again recheck and remeasure. So this was very convincing to the to our millennials, because they love to see the results. They wanted to see the results on paper.
So you need to tailor your approach as per the changing demographic of your customer. And yes, to woo the millennials, you need to have some solid scientific base and technology to aid you. But Ayurveda is here to stay. It's not going anywhere, and we have to integrate it in our new normal.
Kanishka,
So,
I would like to add
Right.
one thing in that,
yes,
because when
very
it comes to the
quickly, Rekha.
repacking, yeah,
Yes.
when it comes to the repacking and for the reaching to the millennials, as
Yes.
like mother's touch is my concept, which is again based on the Ayurveda one, very traditional one, but
Yes.
which I have created the scientific evidence with that. And that
Right.
I have presented on the WHO and all these places. So that's how it has become the one of the first study of the mother's touch, like taking care of the mother and child
Right.
after the delivery. So that has
Yeah.
become the first study on the world platform about Ayurveda based approach. So these are the actually the scientific evidence which we have to create for the repacking this Ayurveda concept.
Absolutely. So Ayurveda has to be backed with modern science to ring a bell with the modern customer. Thank you so much, all of you. It was a wonderful panel, and we got some interesting insights into not just the business aspects of running a spa, but also about holistic approach. I am truly grateful for all of you to joining us today. I'd also like to give a shout out to all the audience that we have today. They are watching us from across different continents, actually, and even if it even though there is a time difference, they are still here with us. So thank you so much for being a lovely audience, all of you, and thank you for all the speakers for being part of this panel.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.